Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on time. This is, again, a plea out there to please remember that you can be part of the life of the society. Think of those people that have marked your careers through direct interactions or through reading some of their work or through their example. You all know people that deserve to be recognized by our society. So please look in the website for the nomination form and nominate those people who have marked your career. Today we're giving out the LaRoe Award. The LaRoe Award is a specially created award within the society to recognize the innovative applications of science to resource management and policy by scientists. This year's LaRoe awardee is Dr. Robin Waples for his creative and productive leadership with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to define how the U.S. Endangered Species Act should be interpreted and applied to conservation. Robin? We need a photo there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I only have 30 or 40 PowerPoint slides, so if we could start those. But actually, I would just like to make a couple acknowledgments. First, thanks very much to Rodrigo and the Society for the kind words. To those who did step up and nominate me. I do want to acknowledge a few factors that definitely influenced this award. First, nobody accomplishes anything like this in a vacuum. So I was very fortunate that I had a large number of bright, energetic, and dedicated, hardworking colleagues, both inside our agency and outside. And together we accomplished quite a bit. So really, the things that we accomplished as a group those people really should be considered part of the recipients of this award. The second acknowledgement, I think, has to be a bit of luck and good fortune, which is probably true in a lot of things in life. I had the good fortune to arrive in Seattle not too long before this whole giant can of worms of what to do about salmon under the Endangered Species Act exploded, and that was in 1990. And as it happened, I had a background that was useful for some of the early stages of that, and I went to one key meeting, so I knew a little more than everybody else, so it just snowballed, and I ended up playing a big role in the process. But that was actually just a confluence of a variety of things that I happened to be in the right place at the right time. A lot of people in their whole scientific careers will never, just by chance, happen to encounter an experience or an opportunity like that. The third thing I'd like to acknowledge is the contributions of our agency to whatever we were able to accomplish that's recognized in this award today. And it would not have been possible if National Marine Fisheries Service and NOAA had not placed a high premium on science and scientific integrity. And we arranged early on, very early on in the process, we developed a process for the science teams developing scientific conclusions that the policy people then took into consideration, making the listing determinations and recovery actions. And we followed that pattern diligently throughout the decade and a half that I sort of spent more or less day to day working at the science policy interface on these issues. And a lot of the scientific conclusions of our teams were not convenient to our agency or to society. The ESA listings of Pacific salmon had consequences, economic consequences, that are easily measured in the hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. but not once in that entire time did we have anybody from higher up in our agency try to fiddle with the science, try to demean the science, try to tell us what the answer should be ahead of time, send our conclusions back and say that's not the right answer, try again and bring us a different answer. None of that happened in my experience, again, for well over about a decade and a half of very intense interactions between science and policy. And I know you can read in newspapers and pretty much lots of popular press other counterexamples where that's not been the case in government agencies. So I just want to give our agency a lot of credit for the way they have handled this whole issue in my experience. And I just want to point out one final thing. There has been at least one very beneficial and probably unforeseen and unintended consequence of that was that during the 1990s, when we had greatly increasing workload because we had more and more salmon stocks to evaluate. Some were already listed, so we had to do recovery planning and so on. We had the opportunity to hire new people to help us in this project. And I found by the mid-1990s that even though these jobs were mainly science support jobs, developing science to form the basis for listing determinations and recovery actions, I had honestly advertised these jobs in that context, and I would say something like, you may have, if you're really energetic and efficient and can get your main job done, you may have something like 0 to 25% time to do primary research. And in spite of that, we found that by the mid-1990s, we were getting really top candidates coming out of PhD programs or postdocs throughout the country who could have been competitive for tenure-track jobs at any university. They wanted to come and work in a place where their science could make a difference. And so this led to, I think, what was really a positive feedback loop where that increased the quality and visibility of our science, and that, again, then would increase the respect it was paid to by the general populace. So it was a sort of an upward spiral, a positive feedback situation. There was considerable benefit, I think. And you can see how the opposite scenario where your agency demeans science or tries to diminish it or have a minor role for that, that can obviously have a negative feedback. Nobody wants to go, and no top scientist is going to want to go work in a place like that. So for those of you who have some influence at the higher levels of agency or government, I suggest pay attention to that because it's really important. Placing high credence in scientific integrity is really good for the whole process, and it's a positive feedback process. So thanks very much.